And I am done. Okay, so I just finished up reading The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the second book in the Poppy War trilogy. Unfortunately, I was not a big fan of this book. I give it a 2.5 stars. And that's rough because I really liked the first book. I gave the first book, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars, which means I really liked it. And I really struggled with this one for a number of reasons. To start with, it feels like everyone else in the world loves this book. The ratings on Goodreads are off the charts. This book won tons of awards. When I look through my friends on Goodreads, basically every single one of the people that I know gave this book a 4, 4.5, or a 5. So for me to come in with a 2.5, it feels like maybe I'm the one that missed something. Because, man, I just disliked so much about this book. I did thoroughly enjoy a couple parts of it, and a couple major parts of it. But, when I finished the first book, I didn't mention it in my review, but something was striking me as a little off. And what struck me as off was it was clearly a fantasy book. But it had such, real historical elements to it of Earth. It's clearly talking about China. And not just from the naming conventions, but you look at the map, and it looks like a zoomed-in China. So that was just kind of striking me as off. It made several references to Sun Tzu and the Art of War, which is weird, right? Like, you would think that in a fantasy world, they'd have, their own version of Sun Tzu, but they don't. They have the real one. And so it just felt wrong. And so I started delving into it a little bit and trying to figure out what's going on here. And what I came upon was that the first book was just a copy, and I don't think it was trying to be a hidden copy. I think it was very intentional of being the Second Sino-Japanese War. And, down to everything. And I'm not very familiar with that war. I'm a big history fan, but that's a part of history that I just don't have a lot of knowledge about. But when I started reading about it, man, the similarities are so striking. So going into the Dragon Republic, I had this kind of leery feeling. But very quickly upon reading the Dragon Republic, it was obvious that book was just the Chinese Civil War. Not just a little bit. And I'm well familiar with the Chinese Civil War. I'm a big fan of that time period of world history, specifically European and Asian history. And I know, certainly no historian, but I know a lot. I've read a lot of books about that war and about the cast in that war. And Nakara is China. Mugen is clearly Japan. Spear is Taiwan. Rin is Mao. Viceroy is Chiang Kai-shek. And there are more similarities than that. But it's not like they are loose. These are exactly who these people are trying to be. So it's almost as if this is a history book with some fantasy elements to it, with some different names. It's that close in comparison. And the fact that I picked up on this so quickly really ruined a lot of the fun of this book for me, because the suspense was gone. I know how the story's going to go. I know how the story's going to end. I know how the story's going to go for every single one of these characters and the ultimate fate of each of these countries. And that's frustrating because I love being surprised. If you're a fan of my channel, you know that I'm the kind of person that I don't even read the recap or I don't even read the summary on the back of a book before I start reading it. I trust people that give me high reviews. And I'll just go into a book completely blind with knowing basically nothing besides the title of that book. I love to go in fully immersed, and the opposite happened here. So just my frustration level was off the charts. Rin herself has gotten worse. I ultimately hate her, and that's not a good feeling to have when she's the main protagonist of the book and everything is from her point of view. And in the first book, I understood her more. She was angry and, didn't get along with others. But I understood it more. This book, it's dialed up to 11. She's rude and a bad person to everybody. And she's just a terrible person. And ultimately, this should not be a shock to me. She's Mao, one of world history's worst people. But if I wanted to read about Mao, I'd read a biography of Mao. But hearing it from Rin, it's just like a worse version of it. And so, just really frustrating. I do ultimately, though, am enthralled by this magic system. The magic system is a 5+ out of 5. And it's the one part of this book that's different from history. I love it. I am not a drug user in my life, but I love this idea that these drugs are in heavy usage here and they can help you connect with the gods. That's cool. I love the relationship between the humans and their gods. I don't want to ruin it, but it's really well thought out. It's deep, it's philosophical, and it feels very fresh. I've never read anything quite like it before. And that's what I want out of my fantasy books. You got a magic system. I'm hard to impress when it comes to magic systems, but you get full marks for rocking it, R.F. Kuang. But the rest of the book, I'm struggling. I am going to finish this series. I'm 2/3 of the way through. I have my own personal rule that unless something is shockingly bad, if I'm over halfway through a series, I'm going to finish it. So I only got one book left. Not going to be hard. But my enthusiasm is zapped. And I almost feel like I know that I'm not going to like it. But I want to push through it anyways. And I hope that I'm wrong. I love being wrong. And I thoroughly hope that I am here. So that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't disappoint anybody that really loves this book. But it is what it is. Thanks for watching.